Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Living on Lemonade podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lauren. It is so nice to be sitting here in my craft room space recording an episode. I feel like I have a few things to kind of chat about, and maybe I'll just give you a bit of an update and take you through the journey of the last few weeks. Now, I know my best intentions, I miss having episodes available for you each week. However, it's not happening lately. So I guess this season of life, I need to I've been giving myself more grace and room to just be okay with not recording as often, even though I would love to. Um, I know in previous episodes I've been talking about how I've gotten back in the pool, which I just kind of nicely got home and turned around, took my wet towel and bathing suit out and hung it all to dry and thought this is a nice time. Still, it's kind of midday. What time are we at? Just out. It's 3:38 p.m. on November 5th. So I'm recording this a little early and I'll get it out the next Monday. I think not I think I know I'm in a season of transition and creating new habits and kind of yeah, building them into life. The biggest one is my movement practice, going and swimming. The pool is 30 minutes from my house, 20 minutes from work. They have a great schedule. There's morning swims, afternoon, and evening. So it's very convenient for me to build that around my shift work schedule. On days off, if I want to get my butt out of bed and just really encourage myself to not sleep in too late, although I do love a good sleep in. Anyone who knows me knows that I can sleep like a champ. I am being more mindful of the amount of sleep that I'm getting and sometimes oversleeping and just kind of keeping myself in bed when I don't necessarily need the extra sleep, and then I end up more groggy than if I'd just gotten up. So this morning I was actually in Paris, Ontario, at my friend's apartment. She had lived there for a year and a half, just moved into their new home, but they're kind of in that transition period. So she still has the apartment. I had really been wanting to come see it because it backs onto the river in Paris and it's just really beautiful. So yesterday, I drove back to Cambridge to have some visits. I'll go a little bit backwards shortly, but I'll finish the story. And ended up having a nice visit with my friend. I got to meet her boyfriend and I stayed at her apartment by myself, which was super fun. And just kind of I brought a blow up mattress and my sleeping bag and I just camped out in her old room. And then this morning, before like I got up, I think around 8, which is typically pretty early for me, but I did go to bed early. Early for me, I guess I was probably closing my eyes around 11. So I got a full 9 hours and I got up, kind of packed up stuff, rolled up a sleeping bag, deflated the air mattress, packed up my car, and then decided to just sit. I had my just like kind of a winter jacket in my car, pulled it out, just laid it out on the grass, and then I just sat there by the edge of the river and just kind of enjoyed it for a little while, just kind of a quiet start to the day. I saw 3 bald eagles. They were stunning. They kind of came right in front of me just across the river in the trees, and then 2 more joined. I grabbed my phone to take a video, and then all 3 of them had kind of fled and headed downstream. So I got a little bit of a video there, and I heard them doing their calls. It was just really bald eagles always kind of. take my breath away a little bit, and I'm always in awe. Like I just pause, awestruck by them. They never I never get tired of them. So that was a very beautiful start to the day. I feel very lucky that I was able to see three bald eagles and just kind of watch them in all their glory. So then I headed home, kind of got turned around, did a couple things, and then went for a swim. Um, to go back further, one of the reasons I haven't recorded, or the other thing, and the reason why I tell these stories and just kind of talk about life is I know that if these themes and things are coming up in my life, I'm not the only one. And I I work hard to be mindful and give myself a lot of grace and understanding and not make myself wrong when I when things don't turn out as maybe I think they should, and I put that in air quotes. So 2 weeks ago yesterday, my grade 6 teacher, Mr. Woodfield, passed away from cancer. Um, we knew it was coming. I think I already talked about this on one of the recent episodes. And I'm very happy that he took us on his journey. And when he announced that there was no more treatment available and his body was going to succumb to the cancer was going to take over, it there was definitely like a community grieving, I think, that had already started happening just reading that news. And they started a GoFundMe, so I shared that on my page for anyone who was impacted by him. Mr. Woodfield taught me grade 6 25 years ago. He's one of two teachers that have really, um, I mean, I have a handful of teachers that really made a profound impact on me. But he was I chose I have kind of two like favorite teachers, one in elementary school and one in high school, and Mr. Whitfield's the elementary school one. So if I can just share a little bit about him, because I that was one of my original intents when I was thinking about the next podcast episode. I wanted to give a little bit of an ode to him because there's always nuggets that we can take from someone's life, especially when they live it in just a very beautiful, big, genuine way. And Mr. Woodfield started at my elementary school the year before I was in his class. I was in grade 5 in the classroom next door. And very quickly it was like he was the cool guy. He was the cool teacher, but not in a jock in high school way, like just very authentic, genuine, cool guy way. We all, you kind of, when you're in grade 5, you kind of hope that you get him for grade 6. That was who Mr. Woodfield was. And so I was very excited when I got to be in his class. He, he, he how do I even put this all into words? Um, he is an example of someone who really lived out their purpose in life, I believe. As much as he was an incredible teacher to us and left a lasting impact through his kindness, his patience, his passion for teaching, he was an outside the box thinker and teacher. He made learning interactive and just his passion was contagious. He made learning fun. We played Mind Trap. We would take breaks kind of in between classes and stuff. But yeah, and it's just man, it's hard to put it all into words. I'm still processing it all, but like I was saying, he was just one of those people that you knew he was born to teach. I was a bit of a problem child. I've always had big emotions and struggled to emotionally regulate and just understand my own emotions, right? They really kind of drove the bus, if that makes sense. I I had a I had an issue with the one like a student teacher and Mr. Woodfield really kind of helped guide me through it in a way, just through me getting in trouble, and he and my mom were very kind of hands-on with it and having conversations and stuff. And the one day I did get in lots of trouble. He was acting as a principal that day because the principal was out at meetings, and in an in a situation where he could have really kind of came down on me and punished or whatever, uh, made me feel, I don't know how to phrase it, but in a way that I would have felt shame towards the situation. That's not how it panned out. He was just himself. He was kind, and I learned the lesson. I learned the lesson, and it didn't have to be in this shame-based way. And I'm forever grateful to him for how he showed up as a human, as a leader, as a teacher, as an acting principal that day. Now, after I graduated, I would go back to the school and visit my teachers every like once in a while because I only lived a couple minutes from the school. I could walk over. I would get home from middle school and then have enough time to get there for end of day. And I remember a specific project in grade 7 science. We had to make mousetrap cars, and I was struggling with that. So I was telling Mr. Woodfield about it, and he said, "You know what? Bring it back, like bring it over here." I don't know if it was the next day or later that week, whatever it was, but he stayed after class to help me with my project. And I was really happy with how it turned out. And I think if I remember correctly, I think there was a couple times that I came back for a little bit of help with math, and he helped me with that too, because math was never my strong suit. It was the subject that would make me cry, yeah, frustrated tears, and he continued to educate me. He was at Avenue Road at my public school for a few years, and then he moved on to another school. And I think it was at that school he started teaching kindergarten. And when I found out he was teaching kindergarten, I just thought, oh my God, I thought you were a perfect grade 6 teacher. He was born to be a kindergarten teacher because he had the energy. He had that, like, that inner child was still alive and well, just very vibrant. And I just thought, oh my gosh, those kids are so lucky to get Mr. Whitfield as a grade as a kindergarten teacher. And he taught kindergarten for years. He was still a kindergarten teacher when he was first diagnosed with cancer in 2021. And through that journey, when he was able to work, he created Forest School at his last school, and they ended up dedicating it and making the sign that said Woodfield Woods and dedicating it to him. He was able to be there for the reveal and post about it, which was super beautiful. Um, he started like Flannel Fridays at the school, and just he really made wherever he was such a community, and he brought people together, and he showed them just this depth of kindness. And he was very active. He has three children. He was very active with them in sports. He coached uh hockey and baseball. He was an avid Jays fan, so it was really exciting to see them go to the World Series. And I know that from where he was, he saw them play their hearts out. And I wish they could have won for him, but it's okay next year, right? Anyway, the So 2 weeks ago, he passed away, like 2 weeks ago yesterday, as I'm recording this. The following Tuesday, which would have been last week, was his funeral. So I traveled home for that, and oh my gosh, I think I cried through the whole funeral because the people who came up to speak, I think most, if not all, were men, and nobody could hold it together. Everyone cried during their ode to Mr. Whitfield. They called him Woody. One of his longtime friends, they met when they were 16, and Mr. Whitfield was 55 when he passed. He said he didn't know Mr. Whitfield's first name, which was Mark, until university. So he knew him for several years, but only knew him as Woody. So there's just, it was a beautiful, beautiful service. So many nice stories and just consistent across the board on how kind and genuine and authentic Mr. Whitfield was. He definitely like the funeral home was packed. And there was a live feed for anyone who couldn't make it. So you just know that like a whole community came together for this exceptional, exceptional man. He is deeply missed. I will always remember his kindness. He taught us the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. He sent me a picture of the plaque that he had up in his classroom. I printed it off so that I have it printed in my craft room. I'm going to put it on my wall. And he taught us so much outside of the grade 6 curriculum that I I find myself thinking like, what would Mr. Whitfield do? And I think that one of the most beautiful things that we can do as we're navigating a loss and feeling grief and that heaviness of moving forward without this person and what they meant to us is to really reflect on the best parts of them and make the decision on how we can embody those beautiful parts of the person that we loved and lost. He inspires me to be a better version of myself and to strive for that and to make sure that I'm being kind to people. I know I'm not perfect. I go a little spicy sometimes, but I can come back to that. And I mean, this man was beyond us. I swear, he's just a earth angel. He's just kind to everyone. Um, I guess I'm not evolved as much. I'm not as evolved as he was, but I certainly strive for it to show up and be kind and be someone that people feel safe around. And that's the biggest thing that I feel gifted by Mr. Whitfield that I can carry forward and continue to tell the stories about him and how wonderful he was. Um, yeah, so I came down for the day and then 2 days later back to my hometown. I was taking a course to kind of deepen my own spiritual practice and spent a couple days. I stayed with Moni and Henry, who are like my second parents, and what I want to share about that was my friend Nicole, who, if you've been listening, you know she was my childhood friend who passed away when we were 12. We were born a day apart. Her grand-mère, her paternal grandmother, was staying with Moni and Henry. It's Henry's mom. Now, I never met Nicole's other grandmother. So when I found out that, sorry, ma mère, that's what Nicole called her, ma mère. When I found out that my mare was going to be at Moni and Henry's, I was thrilled that I would finally be able to meet her. And she said felt the same way when she found out she was going to meet one of Nicole's friends. And it was just this very beautiful moment when we finally got to meet and just hug and embrace. And she squeezed me so tight, and it almost felt like she was kind of um, like as if she was hugging how she might feel if she had the opportunity to hug Nicole. Like she was just holding on to me and I was all here for it. And I was just giving her such a big squeeze too and hearing some stories and her talking about Nicole when she was little and I loved every second of it. I loved every second with my mare and just yeah, hearing the stories and feeling connected again to Nicole. And that's another thing with grief is Nicole has been gone since 2002. It's been 23 years, and the best way we can keep our loved ones alive is through talking about them and sharing stories. And when we have the privilege of meeting someone who is connected to this person and knows kind of different facets or different times of their life, like Nicole and I met when we were 6, but my mare obviously knew Nicole from when she was just an infant, so she can tell stories from a time that I didn't know Nicole yet, and just some of those little childhood memories, right? So I'm the last couple weeks, I would say I've been very connected and present in the moment. I haven't recorded a podcast. I have neglected to share about my winter solstice retreat that I've been planning. That might be to my detriment if nobody signs up. I know it's a tricky time of year. I have gotten some feedback that it's just too close to Christmas or there's stuff going on. Um, so I appreciate the feedback if you do have feedback on this. On my retreat, if you've heard about it and stuff on socials, I would love to know how I can kind of best accommodate and make it work, right? The winter solstice is not something that I can change the date of, right? I am kind of at the whim of nature and when these events happen. However, perhaps I could do it a week early or something. I'm willing to kind of explore that. I just felt called to do it on the exact dates with the new moon on the Friday, winter solstice on the Sunday. I felt called to kind of make that a weekend thing. Unfortunately, it's like December 19th to 22nd. It's right before Christmas. So it's if it doesn't work out, I'm okay with that. I release the outcome that whatever I need to learn from this experience, I will. And whomever is meant to join, if anyone does, it's meant to be the way that it is. And it's so there's a part of me that would have wanted to kind of beat myself up for not posting last week, but truthfully, with the funeral and then being in a course and having the evening time just being fully like with Moni Henry and my mare, I needed to just be with people and kind of in that feeling of community. And then I was home for a couple days working on some craft stuff. I had this kind of burst of wanting to be creative, so I worked on a bunch of bowl cozies and I have one kind of the last part of the process to finish them up, which I'm hoping to do in the next couple days. We'll see. Um, so kind of the moral of that story is if you find yourself being diverted away from your to-do list, just take a bit of pause and ask yourself, like, what are your intentions in terms of what's brought you away from what you think you should be doing? And for me, having that connection and just really being in community and connecting with Moni and Henry and the people that I was surrounded by last week, that's what I needed above everything else. So the other things could kind of fall away. And then the other integration piece that I've also been balancing is of course swimming. My goal is to swim twice a week minimum. Now, last week I was away for most of it, so I didn't get in the pool, but this week I made sure I got back today, flipped around and was like, "Hey, I'm heading to the pool." It felt better for me to have an afternoon swim than to be going in the evening because I've been wanting to go to bed a little earlier. So I thought, well, instead of doing an 8 to 9 p.m., I'll do the afternoon and then I can kind of work on a few things in the evening and go to bed at a decent time. So that's um that's kind of where I wanted to go with that. Just give you a little bit of an update in the last couple weeks, how I've been moving through it, reflecting and kind of integrating some of those things, and just knowing that even though it feels like I totally ditched my sharing about my retreat, I needed to be where I was and in the present moment and not sitting there on my computer creating content or on my phone and stuff. So after I finish this in a moment, I'm going to create an email and send it out and share more about my weekend and then get ready for this podcast episode to come out on Monday and just we'll see where it goes. It'll work out as it is, but I there was a long time in my life where I would have cut off that connection and said, "Sorry, I need to go work," and would have been upstairs and just not present. So it that to me shows growth and a shift in priorities, and I think it's a shift in a good way, even if it's means I missed a week of sharing my retreat. It's all good. I think that there's still some time. People have questions, they'll ask me, and if it's not meant to be this time, I will prepare further in advance for the next one and start sharing earlier, perhaps, and also just I'll find my groove, right? We all kind of live and learn, so this is a first for me, and I'm just kind of learning along the way and giving myself grace for it. So I hope everyone's doing well. I hope there was a little nugget in there for you. Be gentle on yourself. And also today is a full moon. I guess the episode will come out later, but full moons are symbolic for releasing. What do you need to release to better kind of serve yourself? It's in Taurus, which is symbolizes kind of grounded. It's an earth sign, so it's like grounded energy. Um, so when you're listening to this, you can still reflect. What do you need to release in your life or really focus and prioritize for your grounded well-being and for your self-care, soul care, whatever you want to call it. So I'll leave you with that, and I look forward to chatting again in the next episode. And one last thing, there is a series I want to do for people who inspire me, and Mr. Woodfield was the first person that I thought of when I kind of dreamt up that idea and I told him so. So, yeah, he knows that how much of an inspiration he was and he continues to be. So take care, everyone. Hug your loved ones, and we'll see you inside the next episode. Bye, everyone.